Welcome to another episode with Loans Elevated. My name is Broch TJ, top 1% loan officer nationwide.
And I'm TJ Heidenreich. Together we bring the latest news, strategies, and insights in the mortgage and real estate industry.
Okay, so this episode is for the realtor partners that follow us. And it's about business planning, reverse engineering, understanding your numbers, and how to set goals. So, Teach, dive in.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is really turning someone that's self-employed into a business owner, being strategic with your daily activity and where that daily activity is going to take you. So let's just use an example of an average GCI, or I guess a GCI that a realtor would want to make.
A goal.
A GCI goal.
So let's just say 100,000.
100,000?
GCI goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then for even numbers, we'll just say that the average commission made
$8,000
per, $8,000.
Okay, so 100,000.
Yep.
Divide by 8,000 average GCI means that you need to close 12 and a half, or let's say 13 transactions
that year.
Cool. So 13.
Yep. So then take that goal and multiply it by 2.5, and that will give you the number of contracts that you need. Now, these contracts are buyer broker agreements or listing agreements. That's what we're using as contracts.
Yeah, so not signed offers, not accepted
not
offers.
Rep Cs.
Yeah, contracts with sellers or buyers.
Correct.
So that would be 32.5. So we'll call that 33 signed contracts.
Cool. Now take that contract number and multiply that by 2. And that's the amount of appointments that you're going to need. And so that's meaning that you're going to have a 50% conversion on the appointments that you set to get contracts signed.
So you set a buyer consultation or a listing presentation. You should set 66 of those to net 33 contracts, to net 13 funded transactions to reach this goal of 100,000 GCI for the year based on an 8,000 average GCI.
Correct. So now we need the activity in order to set those contracts. You should multiply that by 5, and that's the number of conversations that you need. Now, these are warm conversations. These aren't going to be cold conversations like cold lists that you're getting. These is SOI, warm introductions to other people, and that's the number of warm conversations you need to have.
Warm conversations on an annual basis. And let's actually just quickly
can dive into this
the value of this, in our opinion, why we wanted to share it. It's a very simple reverse engineering tactic. But the cool thing is it really, really simplifies what you have to do to accomplish your goals, and something that most people, at least in our industries, mortgage and real estate, are guilty of, is overcomplicating what has to be done. And there's a lot of shiny objects. There's a lot of different technology and leads and all these different things that people sell us. But it's as simple as this if you're doing it correctly. And if you're not hitting these metrics over time, then you know that you have an issue with maybe the quality of leads you're receiving or scripting in your conversations. But we want to simplify this. This is crazy. So $100,000 GCI. Now we just determined that you have to have 330 conversations, warm conversations over the year. Divide that by 52 weeks, or let's just say 50 weeks, because there's probably 2 weeks of vacation in the year. That means you only need 6.6, or let's just round up to 7. You need to have 7 warm conversations per week, warm intentional conversations per week with a potential seller or seller or buyer, 7 a week to hit $100,000.
No.
That's like 1 a day.
Right. Not hard at all when you break it down like that.
No.
You just have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
And what's cool is as you compile this data over weeks, months, years, you can start to see where you need to tweak your business, because maybe your conversion isn't the best, meaning that you're having too many conversations and you're not setting enough appointments. That means it's probably a scripting issue
or a follow-up issue.
Right.
Something like that.
You might not be asking the right questions, or you might not be contacting them enough.
So you can become more tactical about your business through this process, because this was a poll among hundreds of realtors nationwide is how we came up with this formula, which is 25, 5, 2.5, 1. That's how we came up with this formula through our coaching program. So this is not something, this is tested, tried and true. This is like an average on what they're able to convert. So you know that if you're not reaching these goals, or say you set goals with this and you're not reaching them, let's say we're tracking on a quarterly basis, there's something that needs to be tweaked so you can be more tactical. You can get support when you go sit in a class, which there's endless amounts of mindset training, scripting training, sales training, all this stuff. There's endless amounts of resources for us in this industry. But you can go in with some intention, like, okay, I feel like I'm failing here. And if you identify, like TJ said, you're having all the conversations, but you're not getting enough appointments, you probably need scripting training to ask for the appointment. Or you may need some training on how to follow up with your database of leads. You may need a lead follow-up program, and you might need training on that. So you can become more tactical with what training you're getting.
And then you can also supplement this with your soft touches, maybe your thank you cards you're writing, videos to clients, and that can be to a broad spectrum. Maybe it's a whole database you're sending videos to. That way you're staying on top. But if you have to track all of this, and we use a greatness tracker.
That's a weekly sales tracker. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's phenomenal. We use it every single week, have forever. If you want a copy, hit us up because it is a game changer. It's really, I would say, the single most important tool to my success over the past 15 years. Agreed. And you since you've been in the business, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so on this tracker, you can keep track of who you're talking to every day and also find an accountability partner, someone that you can report your numbers to. And because that way, once you find an accountability partner, it becomes real. You have to report to someone and set either a fine or an award.
Yeah, fine or award.
I mean, we like fines. It motivates us way more. And that way we're held accountable to it.
It's so easy to, like, if you have a good accountability team, we do it with all of the salespeople in our office, and we do it right after our team meeting. So we're already obligated to sitting in the conference room together. So we know we're not going to miss it. It's not something that is like a hard thing for us to get on a Zoom call, or the point is, make this as simple as possible. It's something that you for sure won't miss because consistent accountability is critical.
Right.
But the fun part is, I can justify to myself that I had a busy day, something happened, the wife called, the kid got sick, something happened. I can justify to myself why I didn't have a good day or a good week. But when I sit in there and sit with all the guys and we all kind of talk smack, me providing that justification is just going to create some smack talk coming my direction. So I just avoid the justification and I just execute, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's big.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else to add to tracking your numbers, knowing your business?
One thing I will say is so we have another thing called goals versus actual. This is something that TJ and I use on a consistent basis. We've been tracking numbers religiously for years. So the cool thing that we've done, like, we're giving you a tactic, this 25, 5, 2.5, 1, to create a reverse engineering process and help you accomplish your goals if you haven't already tracked the data and compiled the data. But we have. And so over time, which the Greatness Tracker is that's another reason to use something like the Greatness Tracker, because then you can just go back and track all of your activities. And we have it on a separate spreadsheet that we look at on a monthly basis, and we basically simplified our business even further because we know that we have to fill up a Greatness Tracker every week. So all these things like the 25 warm conversations, that's for sure happening and beyond because of the Greatness Tracker. And if it's not, we're paying fines, and we don't want to pay fines, so it generally happens. But we've narrowed this down to now how many leads do we get? And based on those leads, we have an average lead to funding or lead to paycheck or referral to paycheck calculation. So then we can just simply say, okay, well, I need X amount of referrals every month. And if I have this many people in my database and they send me on average this many referrals, then I need to cater to this many people. And it helps us make maybe even more simple and more tactical decisions. It helps us pour into the relationships that matter and support our business. So
yeah, and it's cool. We've both seen our numbers get better every year as our sales gets better. Honestly, our skills, we start to sharpen skills, and we start to see, and you can really dial into where are your referrals coming from. Do you need to cater to certain partners more? Maybe you have a divorce attorney or a CPA.
Exactly. You can pour into the relationships more when you start tracking this stuff.
Exactly.
And then the business becomes more enjoyable. It's people you like to work with more. Right. Yeah. The referrals are better because it's like birds of a feather flock together. Like you get referrals from people you like, you're probably going to like the referrals. If you get referrals from people you don't like, you're probably not going to like the referrals. It's just the way it works. So anyway, that's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
I think that's it. If you guys have any questions about this or want help with it, hit us up. We'd be more than happy to help with that, with anything with tracking your numbers.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.